Hello everyone and welcome to From the Heart Friday with me, Jessica Brigden of JessBCreativeCardiology. Happy Friday to you. You made it through the week. Today we are going to be doing some fun technique cards with the Stampin' Up! Sunflower 3D embossing folder. It is back in stock, so it was just released like a couple of months ago, and it's been so popular it's been flying off the shelves. It is currently back in stock, so grab it while you can from my online store. All right, I'll put a link in the video description, but it is a gorgeous folder. It's a huge folder. This one is 6 inches by 8.5, so you can do like a full card in here. That's a lot. And if you can tell, I'm feeling kind of a purple vibe. So have you guys ever seen those gorgeous purple sunflowers? I Googled it. Of course, you can't believe everything on the internet. But purple sunflowers in various shades and varieties are a thing. And so we are going to be playing with some color today, some ink, and we're going to do shades of purple. So I've got some 3 gorgeous colors here. I've got Petunia Pop, Berry Burst, and Blackberry Bliss. So these are the 3 shades of color that we'll be working with. And there's this gorgeous new Petunia Pop glitter ribbon. It is so pretty. Well, iridescent ribbon, but can you see the shimmer on that? I thought that was so fun. I was like, ooh, let's do this. So we've got these pretty colors, fun ribbon, and some sunflowers. Woo. All right, who's excited? Let's get started here, okay? So go ahead, leave me a comment, let me know where you are tuning in from. And if you're here live or you're on the replay, happy to have you either way. All right, let's adjust our lighting. I feel like I got awful dark there. All right, it is a beautiful day here in New York, and we are coming up on sunflower season. Our neighbors planted a whole field of sunflowers, and they have just started blooming. The weather has been a little crazy. It's been, even though we started off cold and rainy, it's been hot and dry. And so a lot of the sunflowers around are quite small. So they are so pretty though. We'll take what we can get. All right, so like you can see, this is what we're working with here. All right, so let me go ahead and we will, oh, that's why. So like I turned all the lights off in this house, that is why. Let's see here. Get a little bit more light all around us, and that should do the trick. Okay. All right, it's always a struggle for perfect lighting. All right, so let's go with our first design here. And for this one, we're gonna do Blackberry, actually for both, we're gonna do Blackberry Bliss as our card base. So if you are following along and you wanna create these cards yourself, go ahead and take a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. I cut mine on the long side here at 5.5, and that will give you just what you need for your card base here. All right, so fold and score it at 4.25. Okay, and while we're at it, we're gonna take one piece of our basic white, cut it 4 by 5.25, and we are going to use this for the inside of our card. I've gotten in the habit of doing this right away so I don't forget, okay? Especially when working with such dark cardstock, it's nice to have an insert so you got a place to write your message. Okay, so I have not decided if I want this to be landscape or horizontal yet. It's really going to depend on how our embossing, how we decide that, because this folder, like I said, is absolutely gorgeous, and there's all kinds of different sections of the folder that we can use. So I was thinking, originally I was thinking, well, we could do kind of a landscape. I'm gonna do something like that and do this portion. But if I did it portrait, I could get this flower here. So maybe I'll do that because that's kind of fun too. All right, it's really, you decide whatever portion of the sunflower you want. there's really no right or wrong way. You can do any section, or, oh, I could do over here, and then you could light it up here along the line, and then decide, that way I've got like a trio of sunflowers. That would work too. And that could go in either, that really could go in either direction. So maybe I'll do that, okay? And that's another tip. If you line up right along this line, then you can make sure that your cardstock is nice and straight inside the folder. Now this is a 3D folder, otherwise known as a dynamic folder, which means they are a little bit thicker than your typical embossing folders. So when you do this, you want to make sure that you are doing just your base, okay? Whether you're with a Big Shot or the Stampin' Cotton Emboss, it's going to be your base, no tabs. Make sure you put the folder in with the seam side going into your machine, and then you're going to use your adapter plate. So if you're using a 3D folder with a Big Shot, it's, well, the adapter plates were blue, all right? And with the Stampin' Cotton Emboss, the adapter plate comes with your machine, and this is plate number 4, okay? And it's dark gray. So base, folder with your paper, your cardstock here, and then plate number 4. Hi, Luann, how are you feeling? Yes, I did have a little bit of a technical glitch when I started. Originally, it would not rotate my camera screen, and it said I was like stuck on some kind of screen lock. So I was all excited. I was like even a few minutes early, and I was all set and ready to go. And then, yep, technical difficulties. So we did a do-over, and here I am. So I hope hope you all found me again. All right, so, oh good, you just added this folder to an order. You're gonna love it. And of course, I'm feeling the purple vibe today. I've got my Berry Burst shirt on, my colors of purple here, kind of the reds, purples. But you could do this with any color scheme. If you wanted to do shades of yellow or oranges, or, I mean, I've seen so many gorgeous things done with this embossing folder. It's amazing. It's impossible not to like it. They're all gorgeous. All right, so what I thought I would do, let's play with a little bit of ink. I mean, this folder is beautiful as it is. Oh, I kind of like that too, with this one coming off the side. All right, so what I thought I would do, I've grabbed a piece of chipboard. All right, so if you have a kits collection or a paper pumpkin kit, quite often you get an insert, a chipboard insert in your kit. And I save those because they work great to protect your work surface. Okay. Oh, goodness, Luann, quite the recovery there. So what I thought I would do, we're going to do the ink pad drag. Sounds a little weird, ink pad drag. But what you do is you take your ink pad, you go ahead, you open it up, and we're going to just lightly, okay? So you don't want to smoosh, but just lightly drag. Whoa, that's so cool. Just lightly drag your ink pad here across your embossed design. So you can go one way, and then you can even rotate your cardstock and go another way. So this is just Petunia Pop on, so tone on tone, all right? Petunia Pop on Petunia Pop cardstock, and that comes out really neat. So I did it with the raised side up, okay? You could also do the indented side. My ink pad apparently is really juicy. So do it one way. And then what you can do, take your second color here, in this case, our Berry Burst, and I'm gonna rotate it because the first way I did it, what way did I do it? Anyways, I had it portrait style. So what I'm gonna do this time is rotate it horizontally, landscape, and I'm gonna come in with my second set of color. Oh, it's so cool. And apply a little bit of color, all right, going in the other direction. Okay, I think that looks pretty neat. And then we're gonna take our darkest color here, our Blackberry Bliss. Ooh, and I think I'm just gonna gently tap it, okay? And so we're gonna pick up just a little bit of highlights here in random places. I love that. So each direction that you pull or drag your ink pad, right? Ink pad drag. All right, I need to label that technique. All right, it kind of highlights a different portion of your embossed image here, which I think is really, really cool. All right, but you can see why you need a scrap paper, like even a piece of computer paper to put down on your work surface to protect it is good. And it's always good to have a handy wipe or damp cloth, something like that, just in case, in order to protect your work surface or wipe your hands down. Now, I was hoping I had some Wink of Stella around here somewhere. And I thought I did. I've got so much stuff right here. I am starting. All right, that is my goal. Once I feel like I've just been like surviving here lately, you know, getting through like one day to the next, 1 week to the next. And so I feel like, whew, we got some plans tomorrow. I'm doing a kit class for my mother-in-law and some friends. So that's exciting. And then we've got dinner plans with David's cousin and her husband. And it should be an absolutely beautiful weekend here. There's nothing but sunshine and gorgeousness in the forecast for the next few days. So I've been shaking my Wink of Stella. This is what I was looking for. If you're not sure, Wink of Stella is a shimmer glitter brush, and you gently squeeze the barrel here. All right, and this is the inside of my cap. This brush has been seen a lot of use here. All right, so you shake it well while you're squeezing. Okay, and then what I thought I would do, grab your bone folder, and while you're squeezing, I'm going to shoot some shimmer dust here at my folder. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is picking it up. All right, I'm not sure if it's coming up on camera, but there is essentially some shimmer dust on here. I wanted that as opposed to just full on shimmer, okay? Which of course you could do that too. That would be really, really pretty. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that one with the next project, okay? So we'll limit our shimmer dust here. We'll go full on with the next card, okay? So we've got this, ooh, gorgeous, okay, just like that. Now I thought I would contrast this a little bit by layering it on some basic white cardstock. Now, if you're layering your cardstock in the middle, we learned this on Tuesday when I did my Perfectly Pairs video, that if you're sandwiching a layer in between, this is a good thing. Go ahead and do some die cutting out of this layer because you might as well maximize your cardstock, and nobody's gonna see it from the middle anyways. So I'm grabbing my mixed labels dies. Unfortunately, the stamp set just sold out. I mean, the dies are on clearance right now. You can get the die set for, I believe it's like $18 and change here in the US. Okay, so, and I love the shape of these. So I'm gonna use this largest die. All right, and we might as well, right? Die cut right out of the center, maximize this layer. Okay, so I'm gonna run that through my machine here real quick. Little snap, crackle, pop. Okay, here we go. So now we've got a layer to glue down and a nice panel here. Isn't that stitching so cute? Really fun here. A nice sentiment for a label for our sentiment. Again, this was the mixed labels dies that I used here. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's stick this layer down. Okay. And just be aware too, I see I've got a little bit of shimmer when you are doing that spritzing shimmer sprinkle technique there. Again, it may, it's not exactly controlled, so it might splatter. All right, shimmer splatter, I guess is a good name for it. All right, oh, and now I've got this. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, so I've got to decide, because I want to use this gorgeous Petunia Pop iridescent ribbon. Isn't it? It's so fun. So we got a couple options. I saw a card where somebody used a little ribbon and they just tucked a little piece behind each corner. I think that could be kind of cute. All right, let's check that out. So in that case, let's put a little bit of adhesive around the edges here. Okay, and be careful, because with the embossing, especially if you've added a lot of ink, all right, it might pick up on your tape runner. So just go gently. Okay, I got some stuck to my fingers there. All right, and then decide where you want to adhere your ribbon. Okay, so I'm gonna go across the corner. So I'm gonna extend beyond my cardstock a little bit and tuck that piece behind. Hold it in place, and then grab my shears here. All right, and then tuck that piece in. Ooh, I think that looks pretty cool. Actually, that would be kind of cute. We could even do, I don't know. Let's see, let's match the corners. So I think that's about the right size. Okay. All right, and then just extend beyond a little bit here. There we go. Again, whoops. Let's make sure those corners match. And there we go, tuck it behind. All right, so we just got the ends on the back. Okay, and then we can go ahead and adhere this to our card front. Now at this point, the ink is dry, so don't worry about that smearing all over. You're good, okay? All right, so this is portrait here. I don't want to cover up the middle part, so I think maybe what I'll do, maybe we will come up here. I don't know, I don't want to cover it up. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go just like that, because this is just leaf up here. So that's a good spot to put my sentiment label up there in the top corner. I'm gonna use my Blackberry Bliss just to pull in all my colors. And then we need a sentiment. So let's see here. What kind of sentiment would I like here? How about a good old thinking of you? This is the Wonderful Thoughts set. This set has been around for multiple catalogs now, and it's got the coordinating dies to go with it. It's a great set. So let's do that. Let's do a thinking of you here. Okay. Grab my block. And stamp our sentiment. Alrighty. And I do want to make sure, because same with the purples and the reds, sometimes they have a tendency to stain your photopolymer stamps. It does not affect the use, but it does give them a purpley red tint. So I like to make sure I give my stamps a good cleaning immediately after. Okay, so you can see it does still have a little bit of a tint, but that way it doesn't have any major staining there. Okay, we need some dimensionals. Oh, check this out. Is this not the cutest little caddy? I thought this was super cute. I don't often go to Walmart because it's on completely the opposite end of town, and the lines are always a nightmare to get there. But I happened to go through the little school supplies section, and they had a little trio that you can sell them. They were individually for like $1 something, or you can get a 3-pack for $3, and they are fold flat and they just snap together. But I thought, oh, that's the perfect size. I can put my blocks in here, my dimensionals, and even stick some of my extra basic white inserts and my envelopes. So there you go. That's my handy little send you to the dollar to Walmart there, little Wally World, for if you need a little desk organization. Even if you don't have kids going back to school, I mean, I feel like I have no idea where this summer has gone. It's been way too fast. And here in the north, the kids still have another month of summer vacation because they didn't get out of school until almost July. So, but I realized some kids are back already. My friends down in South Carolina, their daughter started school earlier this week already. So crazy, crazy. All right, we need a few gems, and I've got some of the 2024 to 2026 in color. Oops, don't worry, that was just something on my desk adjusting. I've got some pearls here, some shimmer pearls, or you could, there's all kinds of stuff you could use. I've got shimmer pearls. You guys let me know. The shimmer pearls, I have iridescent pearls. Iridescent pearls might go good because we've got the iridescent. I mean, these are kind of shimmery. All right, what do you think? Petunia pop pearls, iridescent pearls. Or I've got the holographic resin dots. We could go holographic on here too. All right, what color bling should we do? All right, you guys let me know what color bling. Hi Pam, good to see you on here. Isn't that a fun technique? All right, so we did all in here with our shades of purple, with our Petunia Pop, our Berry Burst, and our Blackberry Bliss. All right, and the white kind of helps tone it down a little bit. All right, so you guys let me know what color gems I should use. The Petunia Pop, the iridescent pearls, or the, okay, or I've got holographic dots. All right, Luann's voting for the iridescent. All right, if anybody else wanted a chance to chime in there, go ahead and let me know. Okay, so while you were voting for your favorite bling, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the other card here. That's that second, it's the other half of the Blackberry Bliss cardstock. Okay, again, 5.5 by 8.5, folded at 4 1/4 here. Okay, and again, make sure to place your insert inside your card. Okay, so there we go. Now this time, oh good, Pam likes the iridescent too. All right, good choice, ladies. So let's place these over here. I'm sure I have an open pack somewhere, but my embellishments have a tendency to wander on me, so I made sure I added an extra pack to my most recent order. Speaking of which, I think UPS just delivered my pre-order. Demo pre-order began Tuesday, right? Tuesday, August 5th. Whew. And so I was pretty good. There's 3 new kits added to the kits collection too. So I did get another, I got a couple of the new kits, and I was thinking about doing that for a video today, and but the box just came, so yeah, that's kind of fun. We'll just kind of leave it simple. All right, not go too overboard there. So what do you guys think? Fun technique, and you got to check out that Petunia Pop Shimmer Ribbon. This is one of the new online exclusives that just came out in July. All right, I love that. So we got all the iridescence going on here. Okay, so for this next card, I thought we would emboss the entire layer of Petunia Pop. And then we're going to use our textured notes dies, the textured rectangles there, to do a little die cutting. So again, here we go. Find my folder here. Let's decide what part of the stamp. I think I want to do it so that, all right, so that I have this, I want to use like all portions. So I'm going to put this in long ways, all the way up here to the edge. Okay, and I wanted to make sure I get this little trio of flowers here because with this, I'm going to pop out the center. All right, so I think we've got a good balance, a good framework here. So again, make sure you run your embossing folder through with your base, no tabs. Stick the fold in first, okay, with your adapter plate, in which case this is number 4 here with the cut and emboss. Okay, crank this through. Now, check out how pretty this is. It's so pretty, gorgeous. So we're gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna bring back my base, add my tab, all right, number 2, add my, this is my clear plate. It's not clear anymore. All right, this is number 3. And this time, I'm going to cut the center out of my embossed panel here. I'm gonna pop it up. So we're gonna use the textured notes dies. All right, and I want to do this one. All right, so this is the 3rd largest, if you're counting from big to small. This is the 3rd size. And I'm gonna rotate this on here. I could go in like this, but when you run your dies through the machine, sometimes it's hard. It kind of like stumbles over the edge. Whereas if you put things in at a slight angle, it goes corner first and it runs through a little bit smoother. So I'm going to place this just like that, just a little bit of an angle. Okay. And so I've got the center portion of my flower selected. I'm gonna put my second clear plate. Again, I use them till they crack. Okay, so I'm gonna run that through. So that petunia pop layer here, for size reference, okay, this piece, this was 4 by 5 1/4, okay, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so now we've got 2 pieces there. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our frame, all right, what's left, and we're going to adhere this to our card. All right, so I'm gonna put my adhesive all the way around the edges. Okay, gently put it back on, okay. The die, the 3rd size die is this die. Let me tell you here. I don't think you can you see right at the end of my, there we go, I'll tilt it just a little bit. Okay, so this die is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. So what I've also done is, because the dies, I didn't want to use, I wanted to layer them here, but I didn't want to use this next size because it's actually, it is a little bit bigger. So what I did instead was I cut a piece of cardstock that is just a little bit bigger. So my cardstock is 3 inches, 3 by 4 1/2. Okay, so with cardstock is 3 by 4 1/2 to layer on here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this 3 by 4 1/2 and we're going to mat this onto here. All right, and then we're gonna do something like that. But I think before I do that, I wanna play with the ink again. Okay, so let's bring our chipboard back in here. All right, and then let's go again, build your color. Okay, so start with your lightest. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my petunia pop. Okay, and then I'm I'm gonna rotate it and go in the other direction with my berry burst. Okay. Okay. And then if you want a little more color, then come in with your third, with your Blackberry Bliss. Okay. And with this, I'm gonna just gently tap, all right, to hit some of those highlights. Okay. And you can add as much or as little as you want. Okay. But just start light and then build your color. And it's okay, we got a little spot there, you know, that's where we'll just put our sentiment or something. Okay, so give that a second. Now if you want to, well, okay, we talked about doing some Stella on here. All right, so go ahead, squeeze your Stella. All right, let me rotate this back. Sorry about that, hopefully I wasn't too far out of view. All right, so let's add some Stella. And this time, I'm gonna just paint. I think my Stella needs I need to replace it. What you can do to prolong the life of your Stella if it gets kind of where it's running out of shimmer is you can refill your Stella with just some rubbing alcohol that you can get at the dollar store. All right, just unscrew this. Okay, then you need to pop out this black piece as a plug. And if you use your snips or the putty part of your take your pick tool, you can actually pop that out, okay? But be careful while you're doing surgery. You don't wanna like impale yourself with there you go. See how that's coming out? Woohoo! So see, there's a lot of shimmer left in there, okay? But you can refill that. Just pour the rubbing alcohol right down in the barrel here, and then that will help all this shimmer that's stuck to the tube and stuck inside the wall of your Stella. Okay, and then just make sure you press your cap back firmly and then screw the top back on, all right? There's a little Stella tip for you. Okay, and when you do that, you can get like double the life of your wink of Stella. Okay, so I actually think I need to pick up some rubbing alcohol from my, because I don't think I have any at the moment. So I'm painting a little bit here, some of those flower petals for a little bit of extra shimmer here. Now this will stain your brush a little bit, so when you were done with your color, all right, just make sure that you squeeze it off onto some scrap before going to your next color. Otherwise, you'll transfer a little bit of that color, okay? All right, so we have a lot of shimmer here. Woohoo! All right, can you see it? Oh yeah, sparkle, sparkle. Okay, so let's go ahead. Again, it's dry, we're good. Okay, my hands are a mess, but we're good. So let's adhere this to our Blackberry Bliss layer. Okay. Tack that down. I'm gonna pop the whole panel here up with my dimensionals. Who loves dimensionals? All right, there we go. We're good to go. Stick these in here. Oops. Okay. Alrighty, so then we'll mount this right in the middle. All right, so we have some of that pretty embossed texture peeking out from around the edges, and then we've got this gorgeous sunflower panel in the middle where we did our ink. What do we call it? We called it our ink drag technique, ink pad drag. There we go. Okay, so for this one, still using the Textured Notes dies here. This time I used the second smallest, okay? So counting from smallest to largest, this is number 2. I'm gonna put that larger frame back in there. So size number 2, and I die cut some basic white. Yes, if your hands don't get messy, you're not really crafting. That's right, Luann. All right, so we've got this. You know what, for this one, I think I'll go with a little note of appreciation right here from the Textured Notes set. Okay, and again, I'm going to use that Blackberry Bliss to make this pop. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we've got that. Let's add some more dimensionals. Love me some dimensionals, and I'm gonna put 4 on here. I know this is a smaller label. I'm gonna go ahead and put 4, and the reason for that being I'm gonna put a little bit of ribbon behind it. So then I'm gonna take my tape runner here, and I'm gonna apply some adhesive right in the center. Okay, so I gooed up the middle with my tape runner, and then I've got dimensionals on the 4 corners, and then I can take my Petunia Pop iridescent ribbon. Okay, it's the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you use. Just shape it there and see which direction, right? Ribbon sometimes has a mind of its own. So just see which direction, how much ribbon you want peeking out. Right, if you want it a little bit longer, you can do that. But when you get it where you want it, go ahead and cut the ends at an angle. That one's a little short, so I'm not going to trim too much. Just a little snippet off the end here. And then we can remove the backing on our dimensionals. Okay. And then, yeah, I think, how about right up here? And that covers the bald spot, right? We got a little bit of a bald spot there, so we'll go right up here. And I'll kind of extend it out over, so it's not even. It's just kind of partially going over the edge there. And then, what do you guys think? Should we do the iridescent pearls again, or should we try some Petunia Pop? I think I want to try the Petunia Pop this time. Do you guys want to see that? We have Petunia Pop, or we do have this Pretty in Pink, which actually I think kind of works too. All right, let's go with these, and let me know, do you want the lighter or the darker? All right, we're gonna either go with the Pretty in Pink or the Petunia Pop. Which one of those do you prefer? All right, you can just comment light or dark. And that way I'll know what you mean. Okay, I'm gonna remotely pick up my mess here as I'm going. Oh, okay, I just had you vote on your favorite colors. What about, how about the bees? All right, that's the third option. I forgot I had some of the, and you're wondering why are they on this sheet? Because I had from my opened package of the tiny bees, I had stuck them onto glue dots, and I had 3 left over. So, okay, so I see that you are voting. Oh yeah, the sentiment would also work great. You could do bubble bath, or you could even do a fresh freesia. If you wanted to keep it more of the purples as opposed to the pinks, I would do fresh freesia. I almost pulled that out. Okay, so you're thinking light. Do you still prefer light, or should we try the bumblebees? Actually, I think those would have been cute on here. I think that would be really neat. I don't know. All right, let me know. Should we still stick with the light, or do you want to try the bees? And if you're enjoying this video, make sure you give me that thumbs up, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, this embossing folder is a must-have. This is the Sunflower 3D embossing folder. This is item number 166145, and it's $12. $12 for this huge embossing folder that is 6 by 8.5. All right, it's massive. So you could do, I mean, technically I could have done both card fronts in here at a time. I did a couple of them. All right, so you could do a couple. So you get 2 for 1 out of this huge embossing folder here. All right, so lots of options there. Okay. All right, so chef's choice. Both would look great. All right, I don't know. We've got too many options. That's kind of fun, but we have a lot of sparkle. Let's see here. Let's try this. I kind of like that. All right, and these come in 3 sizes, so if you're doing 3, you just do 1 of each size. That makes it really easy. And here we go. We'll just do that. Super quick and cute. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could do the bees in place there. Those would also look super adorable here. So we've got lots of embellishment options, but true, if you are going with the whole sunflower trend, then I might recommend the sunflower embossing folder and the tiny bee trinkets. All right, with these, you get 40 in a package, so enough to last you a long, long time. That's how I ended up. I've been using them over time. I have 3 left. And if you want to go with this totally non-traditional sunflower here, although, like I said, if you Google, you will see that sunflowers do also come in shades of red and purple and blue. Then you want to try out this Petunia Pop iridescent ribbon. All right, this is 166203. Also super fun. All right, again, back in stock, but I don't know for how long. Lately things have been get it as soon as you can, because if you miss it, it could be a couple months before it comes back in. So, yeah. So I hope you love it. What do you guys think? This was our sunflower embossed technique using the ink pad drag. All right, we did the ink pad drag with using 3 coordinating colors of ink. All right, I hope you loved it. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Have a great weekend. Happy stamping. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.